Good morning and welcome back to Please Hate This Build Part 2. If you missed Part 1, make sure to head over to my channel to watch that first. Today, we're going to be focusing on the absolutely cursed layout of this house, mainly the kitchen, dining area, and some bathrooms. But first, a weird story. Good morning, everybody. I had such a weird dream last night. Here's the story of the squid, okay? My team of streetwear spec ops. I know this sounds weird, but we all looked sick as fuck. I was wearing my neon green fur jacket. I was looking sick as I had some super high platforms on. I was looking sick, nasty. Anyway, and we were also intergalactic streetwear special operations forces. We had an alien squid in like a tiny industrial freezer in a food truck. Oh my god, it's just, it keeps sounding more ridiculous. And we kept an alien squid in there, and Peepo was also part of the spec ops. And we open the fridge, and the squid is aggressive, and it like goes for us. We're like, can't catch us. At one point, I was Spider-Manning on the wall. I was fast enough to avoid the squid, but Peepo was not. And so the Peepo got eaten, and the squid was very translucent. After that, like, that was my job, right? Being a streetwear spec ops was my job in this dream. And then I went home after my job, and apparently Amsterdam is in Tokyo now. I lived in Tokyo in my dream with Willie, and his mom lived with us. Before I went inside of our one-bedroom apartment where we all lived, apparently, I hung out with my friends from high school. After that, after like 2 hours of hanging out outside my apartment building, I went inside, and she was like passed out on the floor. And I thought she was dead, and I was like freaking out, and she wasn't dead. I was so happy that she wasn't dead. I love her so much. And then I texted Willie, but my phone turned into half a phone and half a plate of chicken and rice, and it was really hard because I had to guess where the letters were, and the rice kept sticking to my fingers. And then I woke up. It was really weird. Anyway, I'm sorry to all the peepos. Hey Siri, make me some food. Oh no, Siri, no, I'm just kidding. Hey Siri, download Raid Shadow Legends. Don't do it. It was terrifying. I'm traumatized from this experience. I'm not even kidding. Well, I'm kidding a little bit about being traumatized. Like, it's not like I'm gonna like get triggered and go into like a war flashback, like, oh, the peepos. Oh, the peepos, no, save the peepos. But like, I was like, oh my god, what have I done? Let's just get going on the Sims build. Hey y'all, it's VoiceOver Rito again. I start off by breaking up the downstairs room and figuring out what to do first. I wanted to get the rooftop pool over with, and I originally wanted a ladder lined up with the one above it so it would look like one long ladder, but apparently you can't do that. This is where I took all that time alt placing the catwalk so I could see into the platform to the pool, which, by the way, is super dangerous because it's 4 stories up and has no fences or walls. Anyway, then I realized that the bottom ladder made the light weird, which makes sense. It's essentially just a hole in the ceiling, so it got its own room. Then I placed the stairs in the tower where I think they might also be in the real house this was based on. In the kitchen, I placed a bay window from the base game because I thought that the reference picture had one, and I lined the back wall with light brown and white countertop because I thought the picture had those. Here's where the cursed part comes in. This counter has actually grown on me a little after spending all this time building and editing these videos, but when I first saw this one in combination with another more cursed countertop, I did not like it at all. Placing the sink on this was also a nightmare because for some reason when you put a countertop diagonally, it always clips. Then I placed some of the more obvious details like the dishwasher and coffee maker, which was a pain to place, and the lamp that is probably super greasy from hanging almost directly over the stovetop. For the top cabinets, I think I used the end pieces of the solid color base game cabinets. They were the only ones that I could find that were just squared with glass. They made me realize that the kitchen was wider than the one in the picture, and also that the window was in fact not a bay window but just a giant flat window. I couldn't find a window that was as big and had as many glass panes, so I ended up placing 2 of the high school windows next to each other, which I think looks really good. For the backdrop, I just put some fancy tile that I like a lot. Then it was time to fill up the rest of this giant kitchen. I wanted to put a wall in the middle of the room with a built-in fridge just to add a little curse to the whole thing, but my original inspiration for this whole build was a tiny 1x1 kitchen island that I just didn't know how to fit in with that wall. So I tried changing the shape of the room only to be reminded that cabinets don't work on diagonal walls. I brought back the wall in the middle and tried finding something that could imitate the cursed tiny kitchen counter, which nothing could, of course, so I built a bar counter into the wall instead. I honestly think that turned out really nicely in the final product, which honestly a lot of things did. I know I built this with the intention of it being cursed, but I just couldn't bring myself to actually decorate it in a super ugly way, so sorry about that. I struggled a little with how to make the kitchen and the room next to it connect and have a nice flow, but I ended up kind of wrapping the kitchen into itself, if that makes sense. I cut the room next to it in half because I wanted it to be a dining room, but it was way too big. This is where I started having trouble because I've never furnished a room this shape before. Twitch chat told me that it needed more round elements, so I placed a tiny side table in that weird corner and gave it some windows so it wasn't so dark, and that made me realize that we definitely needed a round dining table. I put the super fuzzy rug from high school under it, not because it looked cursed, but for the cursed knowledge that when you drop food there, you have to wash the whole rug and the food will have hairs all over it. I decorated the weird corner to make it not stand out so much, but that made the room too nice, so I wanted to switch the dining chairs out. Of course, the ones I wanted didn't snap to the table, so I went with these kind of fancy chairs in white. I wanted to put this fancy wallpaper to make the dining room look way too fancy, but it clashed so much with the tile that I had to choose a more earthy tone stucco wallpaper. The kitchen was still feeling quite big to me, so I added the diagonal wall back and made the fridge wall shorter, which made it feel a lot more manageable. I placed a ceiling light over the dining table and then I started planning out the bathroom and the living room. I'm always moving from room to room and change little things before anything is finished because I want the decor to be cohesive, but in this build I really shouldn't have done that because as you'll see later on, the downstairs actually turned out quite nice because of it. The bathroom and living room still felt a little daunting, so instead I changed the placeholder stairs to the actual stairs I wanted, and behind them I made this super claustrophobic long water closet and changed the stairs once more to have walls under them. I didn't know that I wanted the walls under the first floor stairs yet, so I messed around a little bit with railings for a while, but it just felt really strange to have an open stairs there. Maybe it's because of the high walls, but it just felt kind of unfinished to me. After that, I felt a little more confident, so I started working on perhaps the most cursed bathroom I've ever seen. Even more cursed than the reference because in The Sims, you can't place stairs diagonally, so we were stuck with these straight steps in this diagonal bathroom, and to top it all off, I could not for the life of me match the stairs to the floor or the fences. So now there's like 3 different wood colors in there. We're nearing the end of the video now, so let me know what you think. Do you like the house so far, or do you think it's too cursed to be saved? I know that at this point, I definitely thought this bathroom couldn't possibly get any worse. It's so bad that I even throw in an attempt to save it later on. I decided I wanted to do something easier now, so I took to the outside and started making the garage. I wanted to use the garage door from City Living, but I couldn't find it, so I used this large sliding door from one of the kits instead. I tried making a nice driveway, but at this point, this cursed build had drained me of all of my energy. I really liked making this build, but it requires so much brain power for me to try to make something ugly that this is where I called it for the day. Anyway, here's my cat. Hi, baby! Oh, she scared me. She scared the shit out of me. She just jumped up to me, say meow. Hi! You can go on the desk. It's the real Riedel. Alright, y'all. Bye, everyone!